Steady off to the side, wanting to take this one down. Can he find the damage? 4-0 for Flash Wolves. They remain undefeated.
以往的比赛我都是打得很龟缩，然后就是不好。因为那时候我自己也觉得我肯定是比不过那些 AD 的，所以今年我就是做出让自己可以打得更凶，然后更激进、更加认真的练习。
The shots come in, Reckless has so much damage. The shot comes in, he gets the crit.
우승팀이 이제 세체 바텀, 세체 탑, 세체 미드 이런 타이틀을 갖기 때문에 꼭 이번 토너먼트에서 이겨서 이제 그런 타이틀을 얻고 싶긴 하죠.
I think Uzi is the best AD carry at this tournament. I think Uzi is just really aware of what he can do in every moment.
Devoured from Vic by so much time.
Uzi
taken out. That might just be game.
If we have a chance to play against him again, I would like to show that I can contest for the best AD carry at this tournament.
Ole tries to hobble away from this one, but the pillar will provide the quadra kill for Reckless.
Khi những nhà vô địch nha số đấu y xuất hiện thì mình thấy là mùa này AD Reckless rất là mạnh.
我其实觉得大家的实力真的确实都是特别的差不多。
I think the best ADs from every region came, and I'm definitely doing a pretty big disservice to all 9 other NLCS ADs right now.
Give this Drake away for free. Broxa is taken very low, but Double Lift is caught out and beaten down. Flashes and can't get himself away.
I think to win the rest of the games, I just need to step up and just play to the level that I was and not care about who we're up against.
Welcome to Berlin, Germany for day 3 of the MSI group stage. The race for the semifinals is heating up as the undefeated Flash Wolves look to defend their spot against the challengers below them in the standings. We just saw the teams loading into the arena. Hello everyone, I'm James Dash Patterson, joined by Indiana Frosker and Black, Joshua Jat-Leesman, and guest. Of course, before we get into today's action, I would like to take a moment to wish all of the mothers around the world a very happy Mother's Day. Mom, I love you.
Happy Mother's Day.
I also love your mom, Dash.
Yeah, exactly. Who doesn't, right? She's a wonderful lady. All right, well, let's check in with the standings. The Flash Wolves are now in sole possession of first place, ahead of Kingzone. Behind them, Fnatic and RNG are tied at 2-2, followed by EVOS Esports and Team Liquid, who are looking for some wins in the fight for a semifinal spot. Now, we saw a lot of changes yesterday, so what are the main takeaways here from day 2 of groups?
Yeah, we know that Kingzone is not unbeatable. Coming into the tournament, we said they'd drop a few games in group stage. After the first day, we thought maybe they'd go undefeated, and now we're kind of back to reality there. They didn't play that clean, actually. I thought Khan had a relatively poor performance, and I think they're going to have a lot to clean up, and now I think they're going to be back to proving themselves.
And that's kind of the thing. We're seeing some question marks regarding Khan specifically and the champions he's playing. If it's the Vladimir top lane, that was not very good. When he's playing the tanks, he's okay, but he's not the same impact we see back in the LCK. And then also in the bottom lane, Gorilla and Prey, teams can actually target them and try and get some kills on them early game. Fnatic did it, EVOS did it as well. More teams will try to do it today.
Yeah, and then on the other side, we do have some incredible standout performers like Caps, who is now a frontrunner for best mid laner in the tournament and certainly cementing himself that he is of the international caliber. And alongside him, of course, then is Mabel, who will be facing Kingzone later today.
Yeah, and I think something that doesn't get talked about as much during international events, because it's really hard to know what's happening behind the scenes, is the mentality of teams and the impact of tilt. And after the first day from Fnatic, where they were 0-2, I'm so impressed that they bounced back with all the pressure of the home region, criticizing them after that first day, to not only beat Kingzone, but also beat North America and be 2-2.
Right, that was the first of their 2 wins yesterday, moving to 2-2, looking to push themselves to 4-2 at the conclusion of today's games. You already hit on it slightly. Caps in the conversation for best mid laner in the tournament. The other big name in that mid lane right now is Maple. We have to talk about this guy as well.
Yeah, rough last year, but then this year he's looking fantastic again. Like, he's winning his lane, he's forcing plays left and right with this team, and he's so crucial because he's the man they look towards in the early game who can then go to that bot lane and get the rest of the team going. So he's super important as a team player. Caps is more the individual carry where it's all about him, and he becomes the man we look at for Fnatic.
Yeah, and I'm also kind of curious about what types of picks we're going to see come out of the mid lane as well. I think Maple's a bit more standard. A lot of the Talia's, like you said, more of that roaming style. But I saw the Arulian Soul band against Caps, and I really want to see him pull it out.
Yasuo today, maybe.
Yeah,
exactly.
Caps has had some of the most unique champion picks that we know of. The Yasuo already twice, and I do think we'll see Aurelion Sol before the tournament is over. But just to kind of highlight Maple, he's died once. And I think there's going to be more attention towards the mid lane when Fnatic does play Flash Wolves again eventually, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that matchup.
I mean, it's really interesting, too. We already touched on the fact that these two mid laners, both finding success, but both with different styles. It just continues to show that a lot of the preconceived notions about this tournament when it comes to, yes, the teams and their relative power levels, as well as the way the game should and can be played, are just being completely blown out of the water.
And it's not just about being a Korean copycat. You know, yes, there's a tournament meta that's been established, but Fnatic, they went back to their style, the team fightings, and then they put more emphasis into Caps, and they almost turned a corner into mixing things up, playing more of these side lanes, and Flash Wolves are playing exactly how they did domestically. So they're not pretending to be anything other than the top teams from the region.
And that's why I kind of feel like we don't actually have a tournament meta just yet. Seeing as there's so many different picks being used. We've seen down in support so many different ones. Tank support, Soraka is suddenly in there. We're now seeing in the mid lane the Yasuo blind picks happening. No one could predict that coming into the tournament. And there's probably more things coming.
Jed, it's an interesting thought, right? Typically we come into international competition, we say, well, whatever the Koreans are doing is likely going to become the tournament meta. Well, for the first time ever, we don't necessarily have a Korean team obliterating the competition, and so that's, I think, where a lot of this conversation comes from.
Yeah, and also the influence that a team like Kingzone has over other teams isn't as needing to be replicated as SKT. Like, SKT has been this standard team that everyone tries to replicate for all these years, but very few teams say, you know what, actually, we're going to be ganking top a bunch, we're going to give our jungle full reins. So these other teams are actually, I feel, more comfortable playing their own style this tournament. And Flash Wolves in particular, because so few teams, I think, actually adequately scouted them, have had the biggest benefit of doing exactly what they want. Ezreal and Varus are the only two AD carry picks Betty has played. Those are his two most played AD carry picks throughout the whole year as well, so I'm looking forward to seeing
Remove the aura of SKT, and it's amazing what it does to a tournament meta. Now, turning to today's action, we close out the first round robin with RNG looking to gain some ground as they face off against the last-placed Team Liquid. Our next matchup is Fnatic versus EVOS before Flash Wolves and Kingzone step on stage in the battle for first place.
And I know everyone's going to be looking at Kingzone versus Flash Wolves, but for me, looking at RNG and kind of this stacked competition, I'm going to call it, and a lot of people might shy away from that, but the thing is they've faced EVOS and they faced Fnatic on day one. For me, RNG haven't cemented themselves as the second best team in this tournament. In fact, they're falling lower and lower on that standings. And today is the day. It's make or break for me. Did RNG actually turn up to this tournament to prove that the LPL is the second strongest region in the world?
Yeah, because, I mean, 2-2 so far is okay if we consider the fact that we've had a lot of back and forth games between the teams. Fnatic as well, we can, of course, criticize day one really heavily. Like, they tried to play a style that didn't fit them at all. They looked really bad. But then day two, suddenly they look like one of the best teams at the tournament. So I'm actually very excited to see what Fnatic we have today. Like, do they just stick with this style? Do we still get more Yasuo picks and so on from Caps? Or do we see teams suddenly start figuring out how to pick and ban against them and change how Fnatic are playing?
Yeah, and I really want to see if EVOS or Team Liquid can make any noise today. Because if neither of those teams make noise and they continue to lose, then actually the whole do or die or make or break for RNG and Fnatic won't matter. Because the top 4 teams move on to the knockout stage. So RNG might actually have more time to figure any of this out, and when they'd have to worry is if EVOS or Team Liquid start winning.
Right, then the conversation becomes about seeding, right? The idea of wanting to snag that first seed so that you can choose your opponent of those 3-4 slots, but only time will tell there. Now, going into today, I asked our analysts for their predictions. Let's see what they came up with as we throw them up into the back wall. Froskerin calling out the Team Liquid victory over RNG, and in fact, having them win over Fnatic. I'm going to we got a full stops here.
Guest wants to pick Flash Wolves for some reason. But also,
for some reason, they're 4-0.
I don't understand what's happening. You're picking Team Liquid over RNG, but then RNG over Fnatic, like they're going to learn from the loss to Liquid?
Okay, so here's the thing. It is a difference between Xmithy and Broxa versus MLXG, and I'm going to weight that towards Xmithy. Yes, he hasn't been...
Did you watch Broxa yesterday?
As many enemies as possible.
He was on fire.
Well, there was a level 1 that really allowed him to do it. And
fair.
yes, he took advantage of it, but also Broxa has been known to do the least amount of damage of any jungler in the tournament. His day 1 was really rough. But let's start with Team Liquid, because that's the thing that everyone's going to be looking at. And yes, Team Liquid is on fire, but people are missing the smoke from RNG. What they're doing with their AD carry and their meta read in general, I think is abysmal. The fact that they've prioritized Maokai over Ornn, the fact that they keep counterpicking themselves in the jungle, you know, taking Olaf into the Trundle matchup, and the fact that they're playing Ashe, Xayah, Kog'Maw, Tristana as their AD carries. A lot of these ADCs are slow ramping ADCs, and what it does is it stalls out RNG's mid game, where they have to funnel all of these resources into Uzi. And yes, he has the most gold of any ADC right now, but he's the third most damage. So, you know, it's not really paying off for itself, and it's opening up windows for teams to hit them. I think TL, they're done getting smacked around. I think they're going to keep it simple, and I think RNG need one more kind of hit in the back of the head before they get it into motion and figure this meta out.
I can see Jat wants to get in here.
Come at me.
Yes, there are reasons to believe that they have not been great. But has a player benched themselves on RNG yet? Have they started a player who never played for them during the regular season and didn't play in the LCS in a meaningful way?
Because Ross might argue that MLXG should, and that Carson should come in.
Yeah, Liquid is a forest fire right now, and there's like some pieces of paper on fire over on the side for RNG. Like, even if Uzi hasn't been able to turn his gold into damage yet, he's Uzi. We know he will be able to. I don't know that Team Liquid will be able to play like they want to be able to play right now. I think behind the scenes is on fire for Team Liquid right now, and we're seeing the implications of that out on the Rift.
There are some... Oh, go ahead.
I mean, just want to give my quick
You want to get in the middle of this?
You know, I think it's good points everywhere.
Wolves, dude.
Of course I pick Flash Wolves.
They're the first place
How can
team
you throw
right
that
now?
over there? Flash Wolves are looking really good. They're playing on bot side. That's how we can beat Kingstone. There we go. We got that one for later. But the RNG one, I think just the reason that they're going to win, not because they look fantastic, but I just think Team Liquid will not be able to finish a game properly. So even if Uzi's on a slow AD carry, he will get to the late game and then he can team fight.
And let me make this clear. Everyone says Uzi. I have no problems with Uzi. I have problems with MLXG, the draft, and Let Me in particular. And then you can even throw Xiaohu in that, you know, going 0, 3, and 2 in his first game of the day.
I mean,
well,
I want to agree with you 100%. Like, go
I don't.
Liquid.
I have good news for all three of you. It's the first game of the day, so we're going to find out very soon which one of you guys is correct. Now, throughout the day, you can ask our experts about the first games of the group stage. So please hit us up with your questions using the hashtag MSI 2018, and we'll check them out during MSI tonight. For now, though, it's time for us to send it down to the casters and kick off today's games. Guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Dash. I'm Aaron Medic Chamberlain here with Sam, Kobe Harmon Kensler, and Chris Papa Smithy Smith.
Very different tones for our different introductions.
I noticed that. I don't know what to make of that.
I kind of like
excited to start this up.
I feel like I'm the action-packed one.
Yeah, you're the exciting. You got dignified on the end as well. Papa Smithy just there, like, yeah. Kingston will come back in the end. They'll come back in the end. Coming up on the blue side this game, though, we have RNG. In the top lane is Let Me. Their jungler is MLXG. Mid lane, Xiaohu. AD carry, Uzi. Support Ming. And their coach, Hart.
And their opponents from the North American LCS will be Team Liquid. Impact in the top lane, Smithy in the jungle, Pobelter mid lane, Double Lift AD carry, Ole support, and Coach Kane on stage with them.
While their score lines are very different, of course, Team Liquid 0-4, 2-2 for RNG. I think like the kind of split prediction showed, no one's really happy here. RNG coming in very, very hyped up, thinking that they can actually be a big competitor here and have kind of been around the periphery. No one's really hyping them up going 2-2, and Team Liquid just desperate for that first win.
Yeah, and I do agree with some of Frost Curran's findings because RNG, some of the